Governor of Wisconsin, Scott Walker, joins me now. In 2015, he signed a bill banning abortions after 20 weeks in the state. Governor, good to have you here today. You know, I guess your reaction, first of all, to this attack on this pro-life group's office over the weekend in your state. What can you tell us?
Well, it's outrageous, and the fact that a Molotov cocktail coming through there didn't immediately spur outrage. It took some time before both the governor and eventually the president spoke out. But we should be speaking out against violence no matter where it comes from. If a Molotov cocktail had been thrown through the headquarters of Planned Parenthood or through an abortion clinic, I think many of us would have joined in speaking out against that and would be outraged with the violence. But sadly, it's part of a trend we're seeing across the nation. In front of the homes, as you just mentioned, of Supreme Court justices, and even in places of worship. If it was the other way around, I think the outrage would be much larger for many across this nation.
You know, I think a lot of people look at the governors across the country as the new front line, really. If this goes through, as it appears it will, the overturning of Roe v. Wade at the Supreme Court, when they put out that final decision, it's really going to fall on the governors and the state legislatures. And you, as I mentioned in the intro, signed into law a 20-week ban. Is that where you think this goes? Because a lot of people think that once this can is opened, states like yours might push for a full ban on abortion in your state.
Well, you're going to go from the court of law, which is where Roe v. Wade has put things for the last nearly half a century, to the court of public opinion. And in the last few days, you've seen a lot of outrage, but much of this pushback has been to divert onto other issues as opposed to protecting the lives of these unborn children. That's really what this is all about. These are babies. When you think about yesterday being Mother's Day, it wasn't Birthing Person's Day, it was Mother's Day. And thank God for all those mothers across America and around the world who gave birth to beautiful baby girls and baby boys. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about advocating for people who living beings, human beings, not a mass of cells, not an organ, but a living human being. We talked a lot about science during COVID. Well, the science shows us that an unborn baby is a living being. Even the president called it a child the other day. And so those of us who support protecting innocent lives need to make that case and do so not only legally, but we need to make it from our heart and show the kind of compassion we have for those babies and their mothers.
But I guess, you know, as I said, the question is whether or not what now looks like 15-week ban in Mississippi, the original case that brought all of this, and you have a 20-week ban in Wisconsin. Tate Reeves said that the governor in Mississippi was asked, you know, that he said that trigger law will go right into effect, which would ban all abortions. And then he was asked if he would go further than that to next target the use of Plan B pills or IUDs. And he said that's not what they're focused on at this time. But that's the argument that you hear from people in the middle of this debate, which I think is where a lot of people are, is that they believe that states will go far further than the 15 or 20-week ban that they've been pushing for.
Well, I think that's because that's where people, I think even people in the middle, those of us who are pro-life certainly want to protect every baby out there, every unborn child from conception all the way through to natural deaths when it comes to protecting the innocent in society. But I think the average person who really just doesn't pay a lot of attention to this issue, who believes probably by and large, the polls show that abortion is wrong, but doesn't want to get engaged in this battle, now is going to be. It's going to move to the states. Governors, state lawmakers are going to be engaged in that issue. They're going to be a part of it, as are the voters, in terms of choosing who they want in office. But the real extreme are people like Ralph Northam, 2 years ago, then governor of Virginia, talking about a bill in that state where they were literally going to allow abortion all the way through birth. That's where most Democrats are today. That's the contrast from when a baby is viable, feels pain, comparing that to where most of these states like New York, Illinois, California will do it all the way through birth. That's radical.
Governor Walker, thank you. We got to jump out. Thank you so much for your time. Brett Baer's also standing by.